Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 29 of What If Naruto Pushed Himself to His Limit. Remember to get this one to 200 like as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Sasuke King, and enjoy that guys. And also, later on I'm going to be posting What If Naruto was born in the Uzumaki clan, so stay tuned for that and I hope you guys enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Begin the intro. So the last time we left off, a flustered Yujito, Mei, and Naruto came back. As Tsunade asked him what happened, but seeing the situation, she shook her head. As Oniki, Kurosaki, and Akisaki was leaving, they were attacked by two people. And then, after cornering them, the two people simply vanished, and one came, as Akisaki was pulled forward. Despite his size, he was pulled, as something drove right through his chest. It was a rod. Akisaki stood no chance, he was thrown violently. Kurosaki went in a rage as she attacked, but Oniki fired off his particle style. But to his surprise, another appeared and absorbed it. As Oniki didn't stand a chance, neither of them did. Oniki then saw the man, his orange spiky hair and those eyes. Those are the eyes of a legend, the Rinnegan. Oniki stood no chance, as the man simply cut him down. As Oniki collapsed to the ground, breathing his last breath. The summit was then attacked, but not by Pain, it was Sasuke. As Naruto was furious as he knocked Sasuke right to the hole and went out to attack Sasuke. Meanwhile that was going on, Danzo made a deal with Mizuki of the prison. As Mizuki overtook the prison, as Danzo called everyone and told them about the situation as Mizuki and his comrades came to attack Konoha, Danzo unreeled the bandages and placed them all under his genjutsu. As Yujeo, the clan heads, all of them was there. As the attack then started, the Konoha ninja killed off the prisoners. As Mizuki went to Naruto's home, as he was given a seal by Danzo some time ago to break the kid's seal. And also he went and searched for all the Harishin marks all over Konoha to get rid of them. It was a map from Danzo. He tried to break the seal on Naruto's door, but he only got through the first part. So he was electrocuted, his eyes even got boiled out. As the envoys then came there, as they got rid of the next seal and they got in the house. But they couldn't break through the door that was in the house, a plain black door that was covered with so much seal. And if they did something wrong one step, it would probably kill them all. So they decided to leave it for now after not finding anything in the house. Meanwhile, Naruto took on Sasuke. Sasuke stood no chance as Suigetsu came there as well, as Naruto slaughtered Suigetsu and Jugo, cutting them down. As Sasuke and Naruto prepared for a final attack, as Naruto saw that Sasuke is already gone. Laughing like a maniac, Naruto decided to end this because Sasuke was gone, as Sasuke was just laughing and smiling and said that he was going to make Konoha burn and kill Naruto as well. As Naruto created a Rasengan and add wind chakra into it and make it white. Sasuke created a Chidori and lighted up with Amaterasu flames. As the both of them rushed forward, but Naruto vanished and appeared behind Sasuke and drive this attack into Sasuke. As his body was sent hurling with a boom. Karin rushed over as quick as she could as she told Sasuke to bite her, but he was already gone. The masked man didn't appear as he was furious. As even though he was talking calmly, Naruto could tell that he was furious. As he told him that next time they will meet, and the next time he would die. But Naruto said that he got it all wrong, the next time he will kill him. After that, the group went back to Konoha. Going back to Konoha, Naruto could tell that something was wrong because the village was in recovery mode, but now it looked like it had suffered more damage. As all of them spread up, as Tsunade went to her office. As the moment she stepped inside, she saw Danzo and the two elders, as she asked what does he want. As Danzo turned his head, she was surprised to see that his bandage was no longer there, as she came face to face with that eye, the Sharingan eye, as Danzo placed her under his control. Going home, Naruto saw that Yuji was there as she was acting normal and everything, as Naruto knew that something was wrong because his door, the seal, someone placed a Genjutsu seal over it. Seems that they got through his first seal, but his seal had an inner working, so he knew that this was a fake. But he doesn't see anything off at the moment, as the girls came back there as well, as he made them all ham sandwiches, and then Yu-Gi-Oh started to get rather touchy right in front of everyone. That led to everyone getting hot, and went to the bedroom with all of them except for Mei, because she wasn't there at the moment. The next day, Naruto was going to spend some time with Koyuki, seeing that she was going to leave soon. So yeah guys, that was basically that's where we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check out for yourself. So what do you say we begin this new episode? After having a wonderful time with Koyuki, it was time. The refugees were putting on zeppelins, so they could be either taken to the sand, the mist, or the spring, as Samui and Yujito were overseeing the boarding process. So you're leaving too, Conan? Yes. I figured I would be more useful by becoming Koyuki's bodyguard and staying here. As Naruto stood in the center as Conan and Koyuki was on his left and right. It had been a surprise when Conan told them that she was going to go with Koyuki, but Naruto couldn't find any fault in that logic. Out of all of them, Koyuki was by far the weakest link. Even though she had an entire army at her beck and call, they wouldn't be able to win against the S-rank ninja. Well, it would be nice to have a woman as my bodyguard, said Koyuki as she wrapped her arm around Conan's left arm. Plus, since it is Conan, I get to have her with me 24/7. Yes, I suppose that is true, said Naruto, but he was sure that Koyuki wanted Conan to be there so she could sleep with her. We're going to miss you, Conan said. I'm going to miss the both of you as well, he said. Since it was going to be a while since he was going to see the both of them again, he made sure the kisses that he gave them were long and passionate. And with that they said their goodbyes to the others, as they took off. Because of her position as the leader of the refugees of Kumo in Konoha, lodgings were set up for the people, as Yujito had to stay there temporarily. After everything was set up and the houses were built, she was going to move in with Naruto completely. But right now it was him and Yujiro. It's been a long time since it was the two of us, haven't it? Said Yujiro, as she sat at the dining table, as she wasn't in her Anbu armor. As Naruto came back and sat down the plate, as the both of them started to talk and eat. As that was going on, Naruto felt something brush against his pant leg. As he looked under the table, but he saw nothing. Is there something wrong? She asked. No, there's nothing wrong, he said, as he felt it again. As he looked under the table, there was nothing there again. So, that is how she wanted to play it, he thought to himself. As Naruto then pulsed his chakra through the ground. The moment she lifted up her foot to do it again, she was surprised as she blinked. Something wrong, Yujiro? He asked with a smirk. She frowned as she moved her foot back and came into a different angle, but he blocked it again. No, she said, as she tried again, but he blocked it. As she tried again, but he blocked it. Not at all, she said. She spoke. I was just thinking about how strong you have become. Is that so? He said with a smirk. As the both of them kept up their war under the table with grins on their faces, as Naruto thought he was doing well at moving her feet and stopping her, but then something zapped him and he became paralyzed. What the? How is that? Yujiro asked. I just used some minor lightning chakra to mobilize you, she said, as he was at her mercy, as she placed her feet on his pants and started to rub it up and down. You do know that I can use lightning chakra to fix this, right? He said. Can you? She said. I know you're powerful, but do you have the fine-tuned control to properly negate my paralyzing technique? But Naruto knew how to undo it. She was using lightning chakra to disrupt the communication from his brain to his legs. All he had to do was counter it. Sadly, when he tried to pump his lightning chakra through his body to regulate his legs, he was zapped by her again, as she kicked his legs apart. Come on, she said, a teasing voice, let's see you disrupt my technique. As she placed her feet right against his crotch and started to rub it up and down. Does it feel good? She asked. It does, Naruto said. Why? Well, if you're asking me why it feels good, I can't answer that. As she then used her toes to unzip his pants. But I know there are some men who like this kind of thing. As Naruto shivered a bit as her feet went straight into his boxers. As she saw him stiffen, she smiled. Naruto, yes? Can we continue this in the bedroom? It's been a while since I have you to myself, she said. As Naruto stood up, revealing everything as she smiled. Of course, he said. As she licked her lips in a seducing manner, as he picked her up and brought her to the bedroom. Time skip. Later that night, Yujiro woke up in the middle of the night, as her head was rested on Naruto's broad shoulder. She then slowly stood up without waking him, as she walked over towards the dresser. as she pulled a kunai from underneath the jaw. Yuji didn't know what she was doing, but it felt like it was natural and what she needed to do. As she raised over her head, as she sit on his waist, she then brought it down towards his throat, but Naruto's eyes snapped open as he grabbed her wrist. As Naruto flipped her onto her back and knocked the kunai out of her hand, as he pinned her down to the bed. What are you doing, Yuji? He asked. She kicked him right in the stomach and slit right underneath him as she rushed towards her kunai that was on the floor, but he kicked it away as he grabbed her, but she slipped away from him before he could hold her tight. As she spun and tried to kick him, but he crossed his arms together, blocking the blow. She then launched herself towards him as she threw a coordinated assault, punch and kicks. Yuji, what are you doing? Naruto asked as he was backing away. Why was she doing this? That was a good question. She didn't really know why was she doing this. Wasn't just something that she had to do. She needed to do this, even though she didn't know why. She wished that she had a sword. It would have been a lot easier if she did. However, her sword was not with her since she and Naruto was having sex. That didn't really cross her mind. And that was probably a mistake on her part. Naruto did not attack back as he just backed away from her. As she backed him up against the wall, but he still blocked her attacks as his bat then finally hit the wall. This was her chance. She needed to end this because if she don't soon, he will turn the situation around. Right, before she could make contact, he simply vanished. She then felt something hit her in the back of the neck as darkness engulfed her. Time skip. Yujito woke up with a jump as there was a knock on her door. Reaching for the kunai under her pillow, Yujito walked towards the door as she slowly cracked it open to see he was there. Naruto, what are you doing here? She said. I'm sorry for coming so late, but something just happened. Can I please come in? He asked. Yes, come in, she said. Thank you, he said. She blinked as she saw that he was carrying Yujito in his arms, as there was a blanket draped over her. As Yujito caught a whiff of the scent as they passed, the both of them smelled like sex. Is there anywhere I can set her? He asked. The bed, said Yujito. Her house, like all of the Kumo refugees' house, was a simple one-bedroom. As Naruto placed Yujito down. What's going on? Asked Yujito. I'm not sure, but Yujito just tried to kill me. I knocked her unconscious, and I didn't know what to do, so I brought her here. Yujito tried to kill you? As Yujito was shocked as she let that sink in for a moment. Yujito had been Naruto's bodyguard ever since he was little. She had protected him from danger more than anyone else. One could say that she was the reason why he was not killed. Once more, they were now in a relationship for her to try and assassinate him. Why would she try to kill you? That makes no sense. I know, Naruto said. The Kyuubi said that he sensed foreign chakra inside of her. That is a close match for Uchiha. I can only guess that Danzo is behind this. I know he has a Sharingan implanted in his eye, but I cannot understand how he was able to cast such a powerful genjutsu over Yujito. What are you planning to do? Yujito asked. I'm going to visit Tsunade. She should be able to help me confront Danzo and get this situation resolved. Can you look after her for me? Of course, she's a friend and part of our family. You can count on me. Thank you, Naruto said, as he then disappeared in Hiroshin. As Yujito walked over, she didn't know why, but she felt her stomach just twist into several knots. She could only hope that Naruto would be safe. The first place Naruto went was the Hokage's tower. Tsunade usually pulled all-nighters, and indeed she was there. No one else seemed to be around, but Naruto could detect several chakra signatures. They were well hidden, so he couldn't tell where they were or how many. He assumed they were her envoy guards. Granny, he says, he walked inside. We have a problem. Tsunade looked up from her paperwork. As she nodded, you're right, we do have a problem. She snapped her finger and three things happened. The door closed, the envoys appeared out of thin air, all of them pointing their weapons at Naruto. Namikaze and Naruto, you're under arrest for betraying Konoha. What? Gazing at what was going on, Naruto seen that his suspicion about Danzo controlling Yujiro was right. He didn't know how, but if he had a Sharingan, then controlling a ninja, even several, were possible. That said, it was surprised to see Tsunade fall under Danzo's control. Is this some kind of joke? Naruto asked. Why would I joke about something like that? Said Tsunade. Naruto could have tried to argue with her, tried to make her see reason, and tell her that she was being controlled. If she was being controlled to the point where she would try to arrest him, that means there was no point. She wouldn't listen what he said to her. Sorry, Granny, but I can't let you arrest me until I take care of someone. As Naruto vanished in a flash, he appeared back home, underground. It was behind the black door, as many seals and many books were spread across the wall, and many sealing scrolls on the table. As Naruto sat down, Danzo was controlling people. He had no proof, but only a powerful Sharingan could control someone to this extent. And only person with a Sharingan in Konoha was Danzo. However, it could have been Madara, who had the ability to warp anywhere. But Naruto did not think that was the case. That man has his own issues to deal with. Plus Naruto dealt him a harsh blow by killing Sasuke. He likely couldn't come to Konoha right now, and even if he did, he didn't have the ability to control so many people. Either way, Naruto needed to gather allies who weren't under Danzo's control. The first person he could think of was Jiraiya. Unlike Tsunade, Jiraiya had no reason to meet with Danzo. As Naruto focused on the chakra of the Harishin that Jiraiya always carried, as he vanished, he reappeared in a luxury room. It was a normal room for one person. As he turned to see a king-sized bed with two people lying on it. One of them was Jiraiya, whose spiky white hair was easy to recognize. The other was a woman that he didn't know. Neither of them were wearing clothes. As Naruto wrinkled his nose and walked up to the bed, "Are you awake?" But he got no response. Fine. Tsunade is being controlled by Danzo. Jiraiya's eyes snapped open as he sat up. As Jiraiya was dead serious. "I see that I got your attention. I hope you're lying, brat. Why would I lie about something like this? Tsunade is not the only person that's being controlled. Yu-Gi-Oh just tried to kill me. And if he can do this to them, I'm sure there are a lot of people that has been subjected to Danzo's mind control. Alright, let me get dressed and we can go. I take it you have a plan." "Sort of. I want to see Guy and Kakashi. They're the only ones we can trust right now since I doubt either of them had met with Danzo. Kakashi also has a Sharingan, which should negate the effect of Danzo's Genjutsu." "Right," said Jiraiya as he got dressed. "In that case, you get Kakashi and I'll get Guy. We will meet back up at your place." "Sounds good." Kakashi did not have one of his Harishin's kunai. A serious oversight on his part. That means he had to get there in stealth. Sometime later, the envoys were out looking for him. As he dashed through the streets, he saw several of them on rooftops. They were just a distraction though. The real threat will be the ones hiding in the back alleys and the shops. Yu-Gi-Oh once told him that it was an old envoy tactic. As Naruto channeled chakra through the street, as the chakra acted like a thread that a spider will catch its prey in. He could sense the movements. He could basically see them in his mind, but they were just fluctuation of chakras. There were three envoys on the street. One of them was in a store to the left, and the other one was in an alley. And the other one is hiding under the camouflage net 2 meters to his right. As Naruto had to backtrack, it took several backtracking to reach Kakashi's house, which is a simple, one-story building. As he paused, a ninja was already standing there, speaking with Kakashi, who looked barely awake. "Namikaze Naruto is wanted for questioning," said the ninja. "Is that so?" said Kakashi. "May I ask what he's done?" "He's wanted because we suspect him of betraying Konoha." "Well now, that's a pretty strong accusation." As Naruto stepped out of the alley, as the envoy had his back turned to him, he tapped his head, as Kakashi noticed that. "I'm sorry, but I don't know where Naruto is." "Perhaps it would be better if you questioned someone else," said Kakashi. "Yeah, I'll do that." As the ninja walked off, as Naruto waited several seconds before going over to Kakashi. As they went inside, "I'm guessing something happened." As Naruto nodded, Danzo is controlling the ninja of Konoha with the Sharingan in his right eye. But I had no idea how he's even managed to place Tsunade and Yu-Gi-Oh under his control. "I can see how that would be a problem," said Kakashi. "Have you already spoken with Jiraiya?" "Yes, he's gonna pick up Guy or meet him back at my place." "That sounds like a good as plan as any. Let's go." And with that, the both of them flashed away as Naruto held on to him. Not wanting to risk anything, Naruto just allowed Guy and Jiraiya, as he didn't want to get anyone else in this, not knowing if they were being controlled as well. "It's getting really crazy out there," said Jiraiya. "Shinobis are everywhere searching for you." Guy and I were stopped several times by Shinobi asking if we knew where you were. "I'm kind of surprised they didn't try to break into here. I've created several powerful seals that had enveloped this place into a barrier," Naruto said. "The only reason why you guys came in is because I let you through. Anyone else forcefully try will be repelled back." It was a 6-point chakra seal. It created a barrier by using 6 points as anchors. To destroy it, you have to have intense knowledge of Fuinjutsu. "This situation is most unyouthful," said Guy. "If everyone is being controlled, then Lee. Oh, my beloved Lee, my student. Your sensei has failed you," Guy said. Everyone watches Guy cry for a student, and himself for failing him. But they didn't turn back to each other. They could deal with Guy antics later. "We need to find Danzo," Jiraiya said. "That's the only way we'll be able to get everyone back to normal." Genjutsu could be dispelled by 2 ways. Either the first way, causing pain, or by dispelling the technique. The second way was killing the caster and use Fuinjutsu to reverse the Genjutsu effects. If Danzo was truly using this Genjutsu on the people with the Sharingan in his left eye, that means just killing him would not dispel it. Fortunately, Naruto was already thinking of a steal that would work. There was just one problem. Do any of you know where he is? Kakashi and Guy shook their head, as they didn't know where he was. On the other hand, Jiraiya stroked his chin, as if he was deep in thought, as he hummed. I've never been able to locate his base, but I have my theories about that. Do you have a map on Konoha? Yeah, hold on, Naruto said, as he went and got the map and spread it across the ground. Alright, beneath Konoha there's a series of bunkers, as Jiraiya quickly circled several areas of Konoha. These bunkers were created by the second Hokage in case Konoha was ever invaded. They were supposed to protect the civilians, while giving the shinobis ambush point to attack from. But that changed once Old Man Sarutobi made those bunkers inside the Hokage monument, right? Said Naruto. Right, said Jiraiya. I have always assumed that the root bases were located in one of these bunkers, but I could never find them. However, what if I were thinking too small? What if Danzo expanded and connected all of the bunkers together? Root is a small force consisted no more of 200 ninjas. They could easily move from one bunker to the next and we will never catch wind of it. Well, that's my theory. It made sense, and if that was the case it would explain how Root has existed for so long. But there was one thing that bothered Naruto, as Kakashi said it out as well. If they combine all of the bunkers together, it will be a lot easier for us to explore. I think some of the bunkers are still separated. Then if they are, we would have to go at them one at a time. And especially if Danzo had a mean of alerting the intruders, that will give Danzo and his route a long time to get out of there. Then we have to search them individually, Guy said. No, Naruto said. I'll send some clones and have them place hydrogen seals inside. Once that is done, Kakashi and I will go there and take all of the route Anvu and Danzo out. And Guy and I will create a distraction for the regular ninja, Jiraiya said. We will make sure the people that were chopped by Danzo's genjutsu won't bother you. While I certainly don't mind going with you, wouldn't it be best if Jiraiya go instead, said Kakashi. No, Jiraiya is strong, he has a lot of experience, but he doesn't have the Sharingan. Snazzy and Jiraiya are both tag 11 ninja, but even Snazzy has been trapped. That means this jutsu, whatever it is so powerful not even a Kage can get out of it. That is why I need you to come with me. Your Sharingan is probably the only thing that can counteract Danzo's genjutsu. That makes sense, said Kakashi. I can see you thought this through. Time skip. Naruto sent out several clones and had them transform into Anvus, then made them go to each of the underground bunkers. While they did that, Jiraiya and Guy went off on their own. They were planning to split up and cause a ruckus. He didn't take his clones long to discover the root hideout and discover the seals that were set up. But Naruto was a seal master after all. After that was over, Kakashi and Naruto went down there. Kakashi, can you stick to the shadows from here, Naruto said. I'll bring all the attention onto me. If something happened, attack while in the shadows. Alright, good luck, said Kakashi, as he disappeared into the shadows. As Naruto stepped forward, going through the base quietly, knowing that if one of these root ninjas should tell Danzo anything, Danzo would be alert and would try to escape. So he had to make sure they didn't escape at all means necessary. As Naruto activated the seal on his stomach as a golden aura rushed all over him. He wasn't used to this power fully yet. He got it after defeating Kurama in single combat. As Naruto then took a down formation before bursting off like a blur. Several root ninjas tried to stop him, but he cut them all down like flies. His wing blades took off their head and sliced through their flesh before they even have time to register what happened to them. With his chakra cloak activated, Naruto could sense the negative intent of others. There was a lot of killing intent all around him. That meant they had been waiting for him. But that was fine by him. He was going to kill every last one of them as he went deeper and deeper, knowing where Danzo was because he was there where only a few people were. He's moving. I know that, said Naruto. He'll get away if you didn't get there. I know, said Naruto. Be quiet and let me concentrate. Annoyed at Kurama, Naruto knew that he was right. If Danzo get away, he could hide. He could go all over the elemental nations and you would never be able to find him. I guess I just need to go down, said Naruto, as he performed a Rasengan adding wind chakra, as he smashed it down into the ground, as the ground exploded, as Naruto dived straight down. Meanwhile, Jiraiya climbed through the window as he jumped in the office, as he saw that Snazzy was sleeping. As he tapped her on the shoulder, Snazzy, you awake? She slowly opened her eyes as he saw a lot of safe bottle around the room. Jiraiya, what are you? I came to check up on you. Look like you got yourself drunk while on the job, said Jiraiya. What kind of example are you trying to set for your ninjas? Oh, shut up, she said. Now tell me, what did you want? Or did you just come here to make fun of my drinking habits? You know I never do that. As he then got serious. Is it true that you placed a warrant out for Naruto arrest? That's right, she said, as she glanced at him at the corner of her eye, I know he's your pupil, but he has betrayed Konoha. My hands are tied. What has he done? Jiraiya asks. Tsunade sighed. While all of us were at the summit, the inmates at the prison escaped and attacked the village. We learned from eyewitness accounts that the people who were attacking were able to transform into strange beasts. I studied one of them, Jiraiya. They were able to transform by the seal that was created by Orochimaru. Everything now made sense to Jiraiya. Tsunade was fooled into thinking that Naruto was the one who recreated the seal and helped the prisoners break out. Of course, the genjutsu that she was placed under made it impossible for her to believe otherwise, as she wasn't even questioning her own actions right now. Some kind of genjutsu that was. We suspect that Naruto has been planning this for some time, said Tsunade. Even for a skilled seal master like him, creating a seal like that was not easy. He had probably planning to use the prisoners to take over Konoha, or probably destroy it while we were at the summit. Do you really believe that, Tsunade? I don't want to believe it, but there's no other choice with all the evidence that we have. This must be some powerful genjutsu for Tsunade faith in Naruto to dwindle like this. Just as he was about to probe her for information, a powerful explosion rocked Konoha as a massive shockwave of power rippled through the village. While it was different from back then, Jiraiya recognized his chakra signature. That's the Kyuubi. Tsunade stood up and grabbed her cloak. Sorry Jiraiya, I would love to talk some more, but I have to go and subdue Naruto. But Jiraiya stood right in her path. I'm sorry Tsunade, but the only way you're getting to Naruto is if you go through me. You would stand in my way, she asked as she narrowed her eyes. I would, when you're not thinking straight, said Jiraiya. Tsunade grimaced, but then she shifted into a fighting stance. I don't want to hurt you, Jiraiya. However, if you don't move out of my way, I will force you to move. Realizing that words would not get to her, he went into a fighting stance as well. Then come and force me out of the way, because there is no way I'm letting you get past me when you're in this state, he said. Fine, she said, as she grit her teeth. She threw a punch towards him. Knowing how strong she was, he jumped away. As he went through one hand sign as he let his hair extended and hardened and go towards her, she pulled her fist back and lashed out trying to punch it. The hair avoided her attack and wrapped her in her arm, but she did not let that bother her. She yanked her arm back that caused him to get lifted off his feet. As he sailed over to her, she smashed her fist in his face, but he replaced himself with a log. Do you really think a replacement jutsu would work on me, Jiraiya? As she spun around and smashed her fist where he was, but he moved as she smashed her fist in the wall, as the wall was blown to pieces. The tower is going to collapse if you keep on fighting like that, he said. The only thing that is going to collapse here is you, she says. She attacked him again. Kid, I hope you finish this soon, said Jiraiya. I am not sure how long he can keep this up for. Meanwhile, Danzo was swifting through the hall as fast as he could. He should have known that using that genjutsu was a bad idea. It took so much chakra, and he had used it twice in the past week. Once to control several Jonins and clan heads, and recently to put Tsunade under his control. He was pushing himself. The first one had pushed him far, but used on Tsunade. He used all of his reserves, and he needed a rest. Even if the wild, killing part was gone, Danzo could recognize a chakra source anywhere, the Kyuubi. Naruto was coming for him. I don't think I'll be able to escape in time, he thought. As Danzo reached into his kimono and pulled out a box of chakra pills as he ate several. His reserves after resting was already about half full, so the pills boosted them back to normal. He had been trying to avoid using them since chakra pills took a toll on the user's body, but he couldn't avoid it anymore. Naruto was coming. It was then that the ceiling above him exploded as Naruto ripped right through it. As Naruto dropped right in front of Danzo. I'm glad I caught up with you. Now then, Danzo, no more talking. It's time for you to die. Danzo had underestimated Naruto's strength and how far he was willing to push himself when backed into a corner. Knowing that there wasn't anything to do now, he had to fight. As he unsheathed his blade out of his cane. It is not me who will die today, Danzo said. What I am doing is for the good of Konoha, and I still have a lot more to do. So I will not be the one that will be falling. You are a hindrance in my plan, and for that I will kill you. I told you, no talking, said Naruto as he dashed forward. Danzo stabbed his blade in the ground and went through hand sign at a fast rate as he fired off several wind blades that combined into one large one that started to create a destructive force through the air. As Naruto went through hand sign and created a wind blade as well. But Danzo was yet again surprised the Naruto wind blade smashed right into his combination wind blade as the force sent both of them flying back. But Naruto stomped his feet in the ground and came to a stop as he rushed towards Danzo. Danzo went through hand sign and blew on his blade as the thing became encased in a greenish aura. as Naruto fired out a beam of light made from lightning, water, and wind. The thing started to rip through the entire place. It was like slicing through everything as Danzo raised his blade high and cut right through it that was enveloped in a greenish aura. As Naruto went through hands and fired off several large wind blades as Danzo flipped and dodged them. Danzo then tilted his head as kunai past him. As he spun around to caught Naruto off guard his next attack as he knew it was a Harishin kunai, but Naruto never came. Danzo then winced in pain as the hand ripped through his chest. Blood dripped from the hand that was covered in wind chakra. I don't always have to use Harishin for those kunais to be useful, Naruto said. So it seems, Danzo said. This battle is over, Danzo. It's far from over, my boy, said Danzo. As one of the eyes on his hand, the Sharingan eyes closed as Danzo vanished like a ghost and reappeared several feet away. Naruto frowned. An interesting ninjutsu, he said. Izanagi is one of the most powerful jutsu in my arsenal, Danzo said. With it, I can blur the lines between reality and illusion. It allows me to control my own existence. This jutsu can revert even death. A jutsu like that must have a limit though. I bet you can only use that certain amount of times, which means I just need to keep killing you. In this limited space, there isn't much you can do, said Danzo. You can't use some of your most powerful ninjutsu, unless you want to bury yourself alive in here with me. Once more, destroying this bunker will cause the village above us to collapse. You will kill thousands of innocent people. Don't get full of yourself. I don't need powerful jutsu to kill you, Naruto said, as he speed through a hand sign. Hayaton, he said, as a large spear of ice came in front of Naruto. Another burst of chakra sent his spear flying towards Danzo. Danzo dodged it, of course, but the moment he moved to the left, Naruto appeared in front of him and drilled a Rasengan right into his chest. Danzo screamed as the jutsu teared into his chest, bursting through it. But then he disappeared and reappeared once more, to where he was standing in the start of this battle. Naruto went through Hansan again as lightning crackled over his arms, visible lightning, as whips came around it, combining the lightning together, and they went all over his fists. Wind turned the lightning into greenish yellow, and then water gathered, turning the lightning bright white. He thrust out a fist at Danzo as a bright beam of energy came towards Danzo. Danzo fired off several vacuum blades from his mouth, shooting the beam of lightning dead on. But Naruto's attack exploded when it was struck, as it detonated. The unleashed shockwave caused the entire hallway that they were in to collapse. The walls caved in, as the ceiling cracked and fell down on them. Danzo survived with Izanagi. Just as he was dying, the jutsu activated again, as he reappeared on top of the rubble. As Danzo looked at all the destruction and pulled the bandage from his arm, 3 of his 6 eyes were closed. Damn it, I can only use this 3 more times. He wasn't foolish enough to believe that Naruto was dead. Either he was waiting until he let his guard down to strike, or he was unconscious. Danzo jumped in the air as his senses went off, as Naruto broke out of the ground of Rasengan and nearly took off Danzo's feet. Danzo fired down wind blades at Naruto as he slashed his blade as well, as the greenish shimmer went down in a slicing motion, but Naruto vanished with pure speed as he appeared in front of Danzo and thrust the Rasengan forward with wind chakra in it. Danzo brought up his blade, but Naruto wind chakra proves far less superior and ripped right through Danzo's blade as it teared into Danzo's chest. Danzo then reappeared again on top of the rubble. The 4th eye closed, Naruto thought. Shadow Clone Jutsu, as the 2 clones raised their hand as Naruto created a Rasengan that grew and grew and grew and grew. As Naruto leaped forward, Supermassive Rasengan, he said. As Danzo jumped away, the mountain of rubble exploded as Naruto Rasengan hit the ground. Debris flying everywhere, dust, smoke. Danzo coated a blade with wind as he cut through the debris that tried to squash him. But then he heard something behind him as he was too late to spin around, as the ice spear ripped through his back and burst through his chest. As he disappeared once more, the 5th eye closed, Naruto said. Naruto then turned. I see how your jutsu work now, as he looked at the newly reincarnated Danzo. That Izanagi technique is just a powerful genjutsu that allow you to change reality to suit your whim. However, it requires you to sacrifice one of your eyes. You only have 2 left now. As expected, as a Namikaze, your ability to analyze my jutsu is remarkable. However, Danzo says he went through hand signs. Do not think I will be beaten because you know how my jutsu work. You're the one who's underestimating me, said Naruto from behind Danzo, as a wind blade sliced through his heart. As Danzo disappeared and reappeared once more, You might be cunning, but I'm a lot more powerful. You can't defeat me. It is when someone is so confident to say something like that, is when they lose, said Danzo. But on the inside he was sweating. All of his eyes were closed except for Shisui's eye. He was running low on chakra, and Naruto seemed to have plenty of power left. He was at a huge disadvantage. What happened to all my ninjas? Surely not even Naruto could have killed them all, Danzo thought. That was a question he would not get the answer to, as Naruto created several wing blades and sent them flying towards him. Danzo cut them in half with his wing-coated kunai. He then sent a vacuum blade towards Naruto, but Naruto vanished and reappeared in front of him. There was a Rasengan in his hand. Did you really think I would let you live any longer after what you did? It's time for you to die, Danzo. Rasengan! Danzo knew that he didn't have any time to dodge. He could have used Shisui's eyes with the Izanagi, but he would have just lost after he reappeared. This boy was just too powerful to defeat. As he sighed as the jutsu smashed into him, he was defeated so easily by this boy. Danzo did something unexpected. His eyes flashed with Shisui's Sharingan as he cancelled jutsu that he placed on the people over Konoha. Perhaps this boy truly could protect Konoha. He hoped so, because he was done for, as he was sent sailing away. Time skip. Naruto was confused. The mind control jutsu stopped after Danzo's death. He thought he would have to do something with Fuin jutsu, but it just stopped. That said, Jiraiya paid the price when Tsunade came to and saw her off his look, as she beat him for that. After apologizing to Naruto, Tsunade dropped the charges. They had been made under false pretenses anyway. It was like that was a problem though. The real matter was Yujiro. She was avoiding Naruto ever since the Genjutsu was dispelled, as he couldn't find her anywhere. Naruto even asked Tsunade, but Naruto was told by Tsunade that she accepted the mission and wouldn't be coming back for some time. He was sure that she took the mission as an excuse for not being near him. But she probably felt awful for what she tried to do. But she should know that he didn't blame her. Not at all. Time skip. As it was hard to find these smaller villages. Unlike the major villages, that location was known. Smaller villages kept themselves well hidden. Seeing that Taki kept themselves under a waterfall. Places like that were difficult to find, since if they ever had any problem with any major village, they would simply be crushed if they know their location. So their location was kept a secret. 2 months has passed since Pain had declared war on the 5 great nations. Well, 4, since he put one of them out of commission. Right now both sides has been trying to infiltrate the other side defenses. That was why Yujiro was working in the mansion of a noble, living in the land of grass. She came here last month for her mission. After they had located the land of grass, she first worked in a bar before hearing about the noble that oversight over the city, Taniki, that he had a connection to Kusa. And suddenly one of Taniki's maids died out of mysterious circumstances, and Yujiro became the maid. Her current disguise, she had brown hair, a plain face, and no chest. It might have been easier for her to acquire the information she wanted if she sexed herself up a little. But she didn't like the idea, even if she hadn't seen Naruto since the time that she tried to kill him. She didn't want anyone else to touch her, Naruto. Because she tried to kill him, she just couldn't face him, even though she knew what kind of man Naruto was, and he wouldn't blame her. She has been working in this mansion for the past week, but she had yet to find any information that he knew where the village Kusa was, as she wondered if the information was false. There you are, Akame. Yujiro turned as a woman walked up to her. She had long brown hair, with brown eyes, as she wore a standard maid outfit. This woman, Aidora Makamai, was the head maid of this mansion and the main reason why Yujiro was hired. Aidora-sama, what do you need of me, said Yujiro. I need you to clean the master's bedroom, Aidora said, as she sighed. He's made a mess of things again, honestly. That boy is so much trouble. Did he bring a girl home last night, Yujiro asked. Fortunately, no. It seems that he was up late last night making models. The lord of this mansion had 2 bad habits. He liked bringing home girls and making clay models. The models that he made were miniature versions of the girls that he had been with and slept with. At least 3 times a week he would take a girl to bed, and the next day he would stay up late and create a model of them. As Yujiro didn't really understand why Taniki did that. It was probably some kind of, well, she didn't really know. In that case, I shall clean his room right away, said Yujiro, bowing to the woman. I appreciate that, the woman said. I'll have to go into town tonight and buy ingredients for dinner, so I expect you to pick up the slack. Yes, ma'am, said Yujiro. Aidora was the one that actually hired her. Taniki was not pleased with her, well, the way she looked, but it was a disguise and said that she was boring. Well, she was trying to look boring. It was definitely a good thing that Taniki was not the one who hired people, as Idora had seen her talented clean and iron the spot, much to Taniki's displeasure. As she entered his room, there was a lot of nude portraits on the wall of women. Each one was of a woman that he had slept with. As she looked around, the place looked rather expensive. There was a large sheet on the floor, covered in clay, and numerous tools scattered everywhere. She sighed and started to clean up the mess. She first washed off the tools and put them in the toolbox as she got to work on the sheet. She had only been here once before, and that was a tour from Idora. But Idora told her to never enter this room unless given permission. Generally, Idora was the one who cleaned up after Taniki's messes. But since she wasn't here right now, Yujiro had got that responsibility. As she placed the toolbox over towards the shelf, she then noticed a crack of paper that was stuck in two cracks of the shelf. As she looked close to reveal that it was a hidden compartment. As she slid her finger along the crack, she then heard something as her nail caught something a lock. As she picked it, after picking it open, as it was dozens of letters inside, as she read one of them, a letter from Kuza. It was talking about how they were changing location soon. That is why it was hard to find Kuza. It was hard to find a village that was always on the move. She created a clone to search through the contents as she left the room and got back to work. Back at Konoha, it was early in the morning. Naruto just woke up 15 minutes ago, was in front of Tsunade's desk. As he was with Kiba, Hinata and Shino as well. Shizune was also there with a folder in her hands. We just received word from one of our operatives that Kusa has been located. Kusa is a nomadic village. In order to keep their whereabouts a secret, they're constantly moving from one path of the land of grass to another. The time they move change frequently, would make it hard to let you know about where they will be going or where they'll be staying. Must be hard to get clients then, said Kiba. You can't hire yourself out if no one knows where to find you. Tsunade nodded, which is why they send letters to all of their clients to let them know when and where they're going to be at any given time. It seems like one of their clients were careless to not destroy the letter in time, and it was found by one of our operatives. I assume the reason you call us is because you want us to find them and start to track their movements, Shino asked. That's correct, said Shizune. If we can find them, we can launch a surprise attack. I don't think I need to tell you guys how important this mission is. It can help us end this stalemate you has been in for the past 2 months. So, our job is to head over to Kusa, locate their hidden village, and gather information and report their movements until we can plan a base of attack, said Naruto. That's right. This is an A-rank mission. Think you can handle it? It won't be a problem, said Naruto. I just have one question. And that is, was Yujiro the one that provided you with this information? Tsunade paused. What would you do if she was? Nothing, Naruto said with a shrug. It's not like I can do anything right now. Yuji had refused to see him for the past 2 months. Every time she came back, she only stayed long enough to rest, but not at his house, and then took another mission that got her out of Konoha. She had also gotten really good at avoiding him. He had even waited for her at their Anbu HQ, but she used random hotel as her basis, and it was beginning to frustrate him. Really, Yujiro? Are you really so racked with guilt that you won't even let me help you? Time skip. It was a 5-day trip to get to the land of grass. As it was currently nighttime, as the group stopped, they will check out the village tomorrow. I see, said Shino, listening to the plan. So you plan on us infiltrating Kusa by disguising ourselves as potential clients? Yeah, said Naruto. Sneaking in the night is a terrible idea, since most people expect that. However, if we pretend to be clients looking for a mission, that might work in normal circumstances, but what about now? Asked Hinata. What do you mean, Hinata? Said Kiba, as he was confused. Well, right now the hidden villages are at war. Wouldn't the new client coming for a mission at this time would be suspicious? There was a moment of silence as Naruto realized that Hinata made a very good point. 4 new clients at this point would be very suspicious. Not only that, but they might not even be accepting missions. There was no telling what sort of protocols or procedures Kusa had. It wasn't like anyone managed to successfully infiltrate that village before. In that case, I think just Hinata and I should go, said Naruto. What? Said Kiba. Hinata and I will infiltrate the village, Naruto said. Meanwhile, you two will wait outside Kusa tracking net with one of my kunai. Should a problem arise, you will stab that kunai into a tree and I will hire Shin back with Hinata. But how will we know if something go wrong? Asked Shino. Naruto simply smirked. Trust me, if something go wrong, you guys will definitely know. Later that night, Naruto woke up as he saw that Hinata was not there. Someone couldn't have come in here and kidnapped her while he was here. No, that wasn't possible. As he turned his head to see Hinata over by the river, as he thought that she was nervous, so he went over there. Hinata, he said. Naruto-kun, she said. What are you doing up? I was just going to ask you the same thing, he said. Our mission starts early tomorrow morning, so everyone should have a good night's sleep, he said. Are you nervous about the mission? Yeah, sort of, she said. Sort of, said Naruto. He frowned. It didn't sound like Hinata was worried about the mission. Then perhaps, is it because you're going with me, he asked. Several months back she had confessed her love for him, and he turned her down. Now she was going on a mission that kept the both of them in close contact. No, not at all, she said. I'm not worried about the two of us going on this mission. I'm worried that I wouldn't be able to keep up with you. Huh? Said Naruto. You're strong, she said. I don't know if you realize it, but since you came back from your training, the rest of us feel, well, the Rookie 9 and all of us feel inferior to you. And I don't want to hold you back. I don't want to be a burden. Naruto was shocked. It was the first time he was hearing about this. Yes, while he was a lot stronger than when he was 12, he never really thought how his friends would be affected by that. I might be stronger than a lot of people, but that doesn't mean you're weak, Naruto said. Do you remember the preliminaries of the Chunin exams? Before that you were so timid. But after standing up to Neji, you became really strong, he said. I don't think that you have to worry about slowing me down at all. Thank you, Naruto-kun, she said. Naruto simply chuckled. As he smiled at her, you're welcome. You should probably get some sleep. A ninja is at their best after a good night of sleep. Right, she said. But Naruto knew, even if he had gotten stronger, Madara was still out there and Pain was still out there. And he needed to become strong enough so he can end the both of them, without getting anyone that was close to him hurt, and protect the village at the same time. Yes, he needs to become more stronger. But guys, it'll be in this episode right here. You guys can go ahead and check out What If Naruto's Sasuke King that I posted over on Anime King. And later on I'm going to be posting a new episode of What If Naruto's born in the Uzumaki clan, so stay tuned for that and I hope you guys enjoy. But for now, I'm out. Peace.